Hello, everyone. Good day. Thank you so much for being with us here today. My name is Elizabeth Papadopoulos. I'm the director of the Institute of Holistic Nutrition, and it is my honor and joy to welcome Tahlia Sage with us here this evening. Tahlia is a 2015 graduate of the Institute of Holistic Nutrition. She has been a longtime faculty member for the past 6 years and teaches the Lifespan Nutrition course and also Symptomatology Part 1 in our Pacific Time online live program. Tahlia holds a traditional natural medicine degree from the Alternative Medicine College of Canada and a Bachelor of Science from the University of British Columbia. She is trained in holistic nutrition, live and dry blood cell analysis, DNA analysis, herbal medicine, and she also guides all of her clients, to natural tools in supporting symptoms while helping people get in touch with the innate healing wisdom of the body and work on the root of the imbalance. And tonight, Tahlia will be discussing excerpts from her new upcoming continuing education course offered at IHN, which is the Advanced Metabolic and Endocrine Framework. Okay, everyone, let's welcome Tahlia.
I'm excited to be here. Can you let me know how I'm looking? And please shout at me if it's not presenting properly. Okay.
Yeah, looks great, Tahlia.
Thank you very much. So thank you for having me today, and thank you for your time. I want to share something with you guys. I'm not sure where you are in your current practice, either just getting started or you have a list of clients that you already working with. But I want to share something with you that's been that's like kind of like the behind the scenes real life in real life clinical practice, what it's like to be really working with clients, the secrets that nobody was talking about. So first, I have to say all of these was true to me. When I first started seeing clients, what I expect, because I got all these amazing knowledge from IHN, I was myself very motivated, very excited to start, because it's like, oh my God, this is like really, really great knowledge. And I think I'm going to change lives out there. I was expecting to see clients feeling just excited as I am about this information. I'm going to help them unlock some of their health difficulties and transform their health. They're going to start seeing their health in a holistic way, like how I have gained my profound insight and knowledge from IHN, because you know it, right? The body is a beautifully connected, intricate system. Nothing is operating in isolation. Everything is connected. The world works as a whole. Our body works as a whole. But clients don't see it that way, right? I'm going to get to the reality in a little bit. And what I was expecting when I first graduated and had a few initial clients was I was hoping that my expertise, because I was pretty smug about what I got in terms of the knowledge I have from IHN, my previous training in nutritional science. I thought I got it, right? My expertise is going to bring me continuous referrals, and there we have it. But what I ended up going through was kind of a reality check, to put it lightly. What I was going through, I don't know if you're experiencing this yourself, or you're concerned about this will happen to you. So hear me out and see if this is something that you're going through as well. So although you're very excited to share your profound insight about the intricately, beautifully connected system in our body, but most of your clients wants more energy or they want to lose weight. Yeah. I don't know if you can put anything in the chat, but press 1 and give me some energy and support if you do have this in your real life experience. Clients want quick wins. They want quick results. They're looking for silver bullet approaches. Okay, so type 1 if that is what you're going through. And for those clients who are actually they like sign up, okay, sign me up, let's go. They are excited at first, so the excitement was very high. They feel inspired, motivated to get started. But after one session or two, when the real work started, they lack follow through and they just fall off the face of the earth. That definitely happened to me before. Or you have a few quick wins with them. So the report was great, excitement was continuing to be high, but after a while, what initially some of the changes in energy digestion, it just stopped improving. So what I call that becomes a plateau in your result. And sometimes after the plateau happens, you have a dip in your client's morale, they start to get frustrated, they either fall off the face of the earth again, or they come back to you 6 months later, 3 months later, and say, "Oh my goodness, like I fell off the wagon, and all of the results are like, I'm back to square one, basically." So what I ended up doing was I find myself always chasing new clients. If there's anything I want to share with you guys about the reality of having a clinical practice, is this is what I know is it's always better for you, less stressful for you, and better for your reputation and for the growth of your practice to have continued sustained client. What that means is you walk client through a sustained long-term transformation rather than just be a one-trick pony and being able to have quick wins and then the client got better and they never talk to you again. What I'm hoping, based on my experience and my experience working with clients through complex cases, is I hope that by being here today and staying for the remaining of the session, you will walk away at least with a framework in mind that you're going to have the confidence to walk clients through difficult cases, not just quick fixes, but you're going to get the client sustained results. And what that means is you're going to get sustained referrals. And that is how to build a referral-based business instead of trying to chase clients on social media or trying to always be doing outreach webinars to try to bring new clients in, because that is more energy intensive for you and is less sustainable for you. That's quick way for you that will lead you to have burnout, not the client. The client come to you to fix their burnout. But if you're not able to walk through the client with a sustained transformation long term, what may end up happening for you is chasing clients and leading to your burnout. So I hope that you will get continued referrals and have a framework in mind to get that for yourself. Sounds good? That's why you're here today, is to have the confidence to lead clients rather than react to clients. Have you ever felt that way? That you're just reacting every session, the clients bring up something new and you're just reacting to whatever the client is saying. So after our talk today, I want you to be able to walk away with a confidence, a deep knowing within yourself that there is a framework that you can get for yourself to walk client through the different stages in a complex case, and having a referral-based business that is going to bring you sustained income and continued referrals. All right. So now we covered why you're here today. Let's take a look at, get right into the topic. What is endocrine burnout and what that means for complex cases and how to spot one? Okay, so let's see. Have you, do you remember from Symptom 1, Symptom 2, body metabolism anatomy, what is the endocrine system? Anybody needs a refresher? If you do need a refresher, I cannot see you, but I cannot see your comment. Can I see your comments? Yes. If you need a refresher, please type 1. I can see your comment in the chat. Do you want a refresher of what is the endocrine system? Because I'm happy to share that with you. Type 1 in the comment. Yes. Thank you very much. I really feel supported and nourished by your feedback. So let's take a look at what is the endocrine system, okay? So the endocrine system, also known as the HPA axis, include the hypothalamus pituitary gland, and where this gland, so this right here, the anterior lobe inside of your brain, and that brain sends out signals and creates this feedback loop, sends signals to the different endocrine organs, and these organs is going to release a response and creating these feedback loop. And one key feature of the endocrine system is that it's an information feedback loop. That's number 1 feature. Number 2 feature of the endocrine system is that this system, if one thing, that's why we call that an endocrine system, is that if one gland is overcompensating, or if one gland is declining in its function, it is going to have a rippling impact on the rest of the endocrine system. Your endocrine system, probably from what you know so far, includes the thyroid gland, the pancreas, the adrenals, and the gonads. That means the ovaries for females and testes for male. But today, you're going to gain something even more, deepened view on the endocrine system, because we are going to add liver and gut into the mix. Have you guys ever heard about liver and gut being part of our endocrine system? Type 1 if you have. Type 2 if this is new information to you, because we will unpack that a little bit. So we talked about what the endocrine system is, the 2 features of what the endocrine system have, which is it's on one axis, that it's a feedback loop, and it is something that if you have problem in one of these organs, that the rest is going to suffer. So now let's talk about what your client is actually going through, okay? So what is an endocrine burnout? You heard about like burnout being used in layman's term, okay? There's a lot of talks in professional contexts of like, oh, pay attention to burnout, be aware of burnout, be aware of the toll that stress can put on your body. So I want to introduce a more evidence-based, more factual definition of what endocrine burnout is and who is at risk for this and what is actually going on. So endocrine burnout includes all of those organs that we just saw on the slides before. It's endocrine and metabolic burnout happens when your body works harder and harder to maintain homeostasis, because that's what body does best, is to keep you running until it cannot. Okay, so runs harder and harder to keep you at homeostasis, but at the expense of you losing your antioxidant and nutrient reserves. So it's like going into a nutritional debt, and then it's going to go into a repair debt of the actual glands themselves, like all those glands that we saw on the previous slides. So at first, initially, when there is a stressor in the body, which we'll talk about what that looks like, who is at risk. So at first, your endocrine organ, so depending on which one is impacted the most, it depends on which one you have the most innate weaknesses in your constitution, your body is going to, in like locally in one area or a few areas, these glands is going to kick up. They're going to escalate their responses, increasing hormone output, increasing function, while draining your nutrient and antioxidant resources and overtaxing. Remember, one affects the all, and overtaxing the entire endocrine axis. After some time, the overcompensation becomes a ball that begin to drop. It's like the body juggling too many balls in the air. And this is when a lot of your clients come to you with mysterious subclinical symptoms. And by subclinical, I mean, this is the area where people feel gaslit by the conventional medical community, because I actually agree with what the allopathic doctors are saying. Like when you actually look at the lab report, nothing is really out of range. But here and there, which in the course, we're going to unpack what's called functional ranges, that you see these compensation happening in clinical results, in the lab results, but it's just not diagnosable yet. So allopathic has very little that they can offer to these clients where you can do a lot for them. Okay, so these subclinical symptoms start emerging through the body, but the body is still pushing hard at maintaining basic functionality. So you like think about somebody who's tired and wired, and they're so numb to the level of stress and fatigue. They're just pushing on with lots of caffeine and alcohol and stimulants. Sugar is one of them. Sugar is a common one. So over time, this leads to a decline. So eventually, when something is overtaxed and pushed to its limit, is going to throw in the towels, right? When think about yourself, it's like, okay, I'm gonna take on two people's job, which happens a lot. I find in clients when they have like a professional job, I find like a lot of people, there's lots of layoffs. So one person is taking on two people's jobs, and then this person takes on three people's jobs, is stressed, but continue to work. But eventually you're gonna give out, your body's gonna give out. There is a physical upper limit to what you can handle. Same thing to all the glands in your endocrine system. So your endocrine system is going to give out, and this is where you're going to see a decline. So more problems from multiple systems start emerging. So if you catch one of the clients in this situation, just adrenal support is not going to cut it. And that's going to lead to under treatment, and that's going to lead to very not very ideal results for the clients, meaning that they may have poor responses or no response to your protocol, leaving you wondering and second guessing, what have I done wrong here? So eventually this progresses to loss of function. So I see most people are in, let's say, this second or third stage. I'm going to show you a picture right here. So most people are going to be in this resistance and overcompensation stage, but some is going to be in the later resistance and decline stage. Okay, so what you will notice, so if we call the stage 3 is like tired and wired, So some symptoms start emerging. Stage 4 is, if you can see that stage 4, the body is still, the endocrine system is still over functioning, but it cannot keep up anymore. Although some of the patterns, if you look at the people's adrenal lab work and thyroid lab work, that it can mimic upregulation, or sometimes because this actually drops slowly, sometimes their laboratory work, if you're just looking at the basic lab work of cortisol, like life lab cortisol, what you're going to see is, maybe they're optimal, right? So which creates even more confusion because clients definitely don't feel optimal. So it's a slow decline. You're tired and wired here, but this is tired and giving out. Okay, the body is starting to give out in these later stages of the endocrine burnout. So what happens here is eventually this is going to create, so in the final stage, the last stage is going to have loss of function, where the body is having trouble regulating its energy system, blood sugar levels, keeping hormone imbalance. And this is where sometimes you even see very, very low levels of adrenal hormones. What that means is autoimmunity is going to emerge. You may also see liver enzymes start to increase, because at this point, at the last stage of endocrine metabolic burnout, the body is going into uncontrolled inflammation. And that's where it's going to be a very dangerous, I would say more urgent than the rest of the situation where you're in the more resistant mode. Okay, so if you catch a client in this stage, some typical rhodiola and some typical ashwagandha is just not going to cut it. And what you're going to walk away with today is at least there's a clear roadmap and strategy on how to approach these situations. So now I think you might be wondering, okay, Tahlia, so who might be experiencing this situation? Okay, so this is who might be at risk of experiencing endocrine burnout. Like, what am I going to see in a session? How do I spot these complex cases so that I can be prepared to guide them through a sustainable transformation? So who is going to be at risk? What I typically observe in my clinical practice is when people have come to you that I like to joke about with my husband. I say, I had a client intake today. The best way to approach this client is to ask them, what problem don't they have? I'll let that sink in for a sec. So that means you're observing clients with multiple system symptom clusters of multiple system symptoms. That means simultaneously they have metabolic syndrome, which is high blood cholesterol level, high blood sugar level. Maybe there's high blood pressure, weight stuck in the midsection, so metabolic picture. But they also suffer from menstrual problems, and they also have a thyroid problem. So multiple cluster symptomology clients is at risk for endocrine burnout. If you don't take a deeper look and just jump in on one of the 3 routes instead of taking a zoom out holistic approach, you're not going to get the result that you're hoping for. Another type of client, I have to say, hello, myself included. I've seen many clients, it really doesn't matter how old they are. They could, I have some cases in the end, and we can illustrate this better. The client could be in their 20s, 30s, 40s, but they actually, when you look at their comprehensive hormone report, they have the endocrine system of a 50-year-old. what that means is the person, although they're young, their biological age is young, but actually their endocrine system is in like the toilet. So what you're going to see is something that's not adding up type of client. So if you look at me as an example, I look fine, right? You think I look fine? Some people even say, "Oh, Tahlia, like, how do you keep yourself thin?" But working the whole program is based on digging myself out of that hole for myself and my other client, because what I had looking this way was weight stuck in the middle that nobody can see. Usually, like, people look at me and say, "Oh, you look great," but I gained 20 pounds all stuck in the middle. I feel so self-conscious, dressed in what I used to wear, so I have to get rid of a lot of clothes. I was having extreme fatigue that I was not able to explain, had high functioning depression, and I just couldn't figure out what's wrong with myself. And when I went to the doctor, they look at me, "You look too thin, you need some iron." It's like bullshit. And when I look at my other lab metrics, I was in the pre-diabetic category. So mysterious cases, things are not adding up cases, multi-cluster symptom cases. And here's a bonus for you. For people who is actually, if you're taking lifespan tomorrow, or you've taken lifespan, when things compound over time, there's more statistically, there's more of a chance for things to go wrong. Okay, so that's the case where you have somebody in their 40s, late 40s, late 30s, mid 40s, and they have all of these mysterious symptoms and nothing seemed to work out for them. I highly recommend using this endocrine metabolic framework with those clients, because problems tend to compound over time. And usually late 30s, mid 40s is where these issues are I see most common in my clinical practice clients. And another one, you might not hear this often, is client with autoimmunity. Okay, so this is risk factor number 4 is if you have a current or past, you could be in remission, the current and past diagnosis of autoimmunity. And what is the essence or the underlying pathology of autoimmunity is inflammation, chronic inflammation, and that's going in a cyclic pattern. There's many autoimmunity. They're not like body attacking the body all the time, but it goes through the cycle of elevated autoimmune attack, and then it goes into remission, and then eventually through these cycles of autoimmune attack, the body's glandular system or whatever the immune system is attacking start to lose function. So these are the 4 profiles of clients that I think is going to benefit from you taking a look at this metabolic framework. Okay, I'm going to repeat these 4 types of clients. Number 1 is somebody who have multi-cluster symptoms. So they don't come to you with just the weight loss problem. When you dig a little bit deeper, they also got some thyroid complaint, gut complaint, adrenal complaint, or you suspect those, multi-cluster. Number 2, when things are not adding up. The most important thing, like coming from my heart, is when you see a young person which I have a case prepared to share with you in the end, is when you see a client that looks fine, just fine, like they tell you they're fine, they look fine, but they come to you because they're not fine. I really, really want to share that as important to validate those clients. So clients, they could be young, but they're having hot flashes. So they could look thin, but they're having pre-diabetic metrics. Okay, so things are not adding up clients. And number 3 is autoimmune clients, people that's been through autoimmunity, because that chronic cycle of inflammation is already a given. That's already a tax on your endocrine system. I don't care if you have autoimmune of the joints, it is still a tax on the entire endocrine system, because the whole endocrine system is very susceptible to inflammation. And number 4 is when people are in their late 30s to mid 40s. This is when it's not like ageism or anything like that, but it's, if you ever taken lifespan nutrition through the lifespan, you know that when things don't get resolved, they become a deeper problem. They become glandular changes over time. So when people have a lot of mysterious symptoms, they may come to you for weight loss, but their weight stuck, does not respond to diet and exercise. This is when you can unlock things for them from a zoomed out endocrine and metabolic perspective. I hope that's helpful, illustrating the use cases of where you can apply this endocrine and metabolic burnout framework. And this is what we covered. So one of the predictable pattern of all the glands within your endocrine system follow this very predictable pattern. Okay, your job as a practitioner, if you take the continued education class, what we're going to delve in deeper is to give you the tools, give you the some case experience to analyze and unpack these complex cases and see where they are, and having a more personalized strategy and roadmap to really resulting in these clients coming back over and over again, wanting to cannot wait to get to the next stage with you. So to recap, this predictable pattern include upregulation, so hyperfunctioning, the body overcompensating. Over time, in stage 3, the body becomes overtaxed, you're tired and wired, you're numb to the level of stress that you're having. And then in the 4 later stages, the body is giving out, dropping the balls. And I really, really hope, well, it's not too late, but still, I really hope that you can, after today and after you come take my class, is that you can catch many, many people before they go into the hypofunction, which is the most dangerous stage, where you're actually going to have to rebuild their glands. What that means, the thyroid, the ovaries, the adrenals, they're experiencing atrophy. They're shriveling up, and the mass of those glands are decreasing. And that's why you don't even have a gland there to actually support. So you have to rebuild those glands. All right. So now we talked about what is the endocrine system, what is the endocrine burnout, and the predictable pattern that it follows, who's at risk for endocrine metabolic burnout. What I'm going to bring you is, I'm going to bring you to the feedback loop. So we're going to delve even deeper on how everything leads back in that quick result, the silver bullet that your clients come to you to look for, which is weight loss, having lose weight, more energy. Okay. Before that, I want to ask you this question. Do you want to review what insulin means? Because this will make no sense to you if you don't understand what is insulin resistance. Do you want a quick minute? One? Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, I really appreciate it. So what is insulin? Insulin is a hormone that is pumped out of the beta cells of your pancreas, at the tip of the pancreas, when you have sugary and starchy things. It is a anabolic hormone. What does anabolic hormone mean? Basically it's a building hormone. Catabolic is disassembling. Anabolic is growing, right? It promotes the absorption of sugar from the bloodstream into liver, fat, and muscle cells. Okay. Insulin itself is fine. We cannot live without it. But what most people have, and in the endocrine metabolic burnout framework, what people typically have is called insulin excess. Okay, so it's a very important hormone that when your body has insulin in it, it starts to absorb sugar and it starts to store stuff, storage, building. But when you have excess, so that is when people's cells are irresponsive to insulin's knock, so the body have to produce a whole bunch of insulin, you have an insulin excess problem. And that is at the core, because you might hear people say, okay, like, then let's just do keto diet, right? Have you heard about the keto diet? Probably you do, right? Have you heard about intermittent fasting? I mean, those are all great. If you heard about them, you tried them, worked for you, that's awesome. I definitely think there's merit to ketogenic diet, intermittent fasting, but what they didn't say, because those are very microscopic tactic approach without a solid framework behind it. So insulin excess, to fix insulin excess, which is at the core of the body gaining weight. Insulin excess means make more fat. Okay, so that's in plain language. Insulin excess, insulin resistance, you can put equal signs. So insulin excess equals to insulin resistance and equals to make more fat, right? So that is at the core of people's weight gain. But what the mainstream, like even alternative mainstream approach failed to mention is this, okay? So at the core is insulin, but where does this insulin resistance come from? Because sometimes people can be fasting, like I have real life data from clients that people can be doing low carb keto, but because of their adrenals, they're not losing weight. And in fact, they're so carb deprived, they're not even in ketosis because you're not looking at the thyroid, the adrenals. So just by trying to turn that huge ship around, by depriving yourself from carbs, by forcing your body to go on a ketogenic diet, I'm not saying that it doesn't work, because clearly there's data that support it does. And there's elements of it that I will teach in this approach, but it's not really going to give you 100% win if you don't look at the whole picture. I think we might be short on time. So what I'm going to go towards is, why don't we look at this? Why don't we look at some real cases? Okay, some real cases that you can now have 6 months of continued income from working through these cases, similar cases like this in your practice. Okay, so case number one, I'm very proud of this case. Is a 37-year-old female, has had a baby 3 years ago. So technically, she has a toddler. She doesn't have a baby anymore. The baby now is sleeping through the night beautifully in her own room. But the poor mom, she was, ever since the baby, she was not able to sleep through the night. She even went to a sleep study, which they hook her up to all those tubes and machines to figure out her sleep cycle. So what the report from the sleep study was showing me, she was waking up every 2 hours. It's like, okay, you're still on baby schedule, but baby is sleeping through the night, you're not. The weight that she gained during her pregnancy, for the most part, did not come off. She said she had 15 pounds of baby weight just stuck, and specifically stuck all around her belly, and she's not able to wear any of her pre-pregnancy clothing, and she's very self-conscious. And what's even the kicker is she's suspecting at only 37 years of age, she suspects that she is going through perimenopause, because not only she's not sleeping through the night, she was also soaking through her sheets, like from hot flashes. And during the day, she runs on high anxiety. Despite cycling 2 hours a day and on a low carb, high protein diet that she makes from home, she was not sleeping and she is not losing weight. So let me share with you what I did in this case, okay? So in this case, we did a few things right off the bat. We looked at a comprehensive hormone analysis. We looked at a food sensitivity test. And what we learned was right away that this person she's too young for perimenopause. She is far from it. But what she had was the decline. She was in adrenal decline. So what that means is her body is lacking the ability to keep up with chronic not being able to sleep and the chronic high anxiety, because that's burning her adrenals. On top of that, she had multiple food sensitivities that's really, really severe, including wheat and dairy. And she was having her high protein diet off of cottage cheese and Greek yogurt. Okay, so that was not working for her. And despite that, she cooks all her meals from home, she relies on a lot of pre-packaged salads. When we took a look at the salads together, it was packed with sunflower oil and other inflammatory seed oils. What we did through the first few sessions is not on any diet restriction at all. It was, I'm going to walk you through the personalized approach. So in every individual stage, there is a corresponding approach. So from what I see is this individual is in the depletion stage. So if somebody's in a depletion stage, giving her a lot of rhodiola is just going to build anxiety. So what we did was we did nourishing adaptogens, including shatavari, chaga, and reishi. And within a month, we are able to double the amount of deep sleep that she was having. And 2 months in, she was sleeping 6 to 8 hours throughout the night. And because she was sleeping well and reducing all those inflammatory seed oils, inflammatory food, within 2 months, we have not even begun our diet yet. She already dropped 10 pounds just by taking care of her adrenals and sleeping more and reducing inflammatory influences on her body. So that was something I was really, really proud to share with you. Okay, I think, Elizabeth, we might be out of time. It's like, I could be talking this forever. And last thing is,
Okay.
can I do?
Yeah, that's fine, Tahlia. Just you keep going, and we can stop at 7:55 or
I don't know how's the
4:55 your
participants
time.
doing. Like, are you guys like feeling like
See,
you can do a little bit more?
Shaista just said great job, so that's fine. You
Okay,
can keep
awesome.
going.
Thank you.
5 more minutes. Yeah.
So now, like, let's talk about the elephant in the room, right? Have you ever wondered, is like, why go through all that trouble if I can just get some little Ozempic injection? Have you ever wondered about that? Right? Well, if you look at the pharmaceutical studies, Ozempic is touted as like a new diet, this great big thing. And when you actually look at what they publish as the benefits, it increases, this is the metabolic parameters, and then you're going to learn what the difference between metabolic parameters versus the actual metabolic health means. Metabolic parameter includes insulin sensitivity, and their version of insulin sensitivity is very different than the version of insulin sensitivity you're going to learn in the upcoming continue ed class. Because how pharmaceutical companies study insulin sensitivity, they measure, so they give participants sugar and they measure the sugar uptake. So that means you take my drug, you take sugar, oh, the sugar went down, okay, insulin sensitivity. All right. So what they didn't tell you is that that insulin sensitivity comes at the cost of ramming excessive amounts of inflammatory sugar into your cells, damaging your mitochondria in the long run. So actually aging your body and breaking your metabolism in the long run. Yes, your blood sugar might look great, but your mitochondria look like shit. And they published that it definitely improves BMI, so the body mass index. And that is also, excuse my language, bullshit. Because why? What they didn't tell you in those studies, this is according to Dr. Lusberg, which is Rob Lusberg is a very renowned metabolic expert that he focused on reviewing hundreds of papers on these pharmaceuticals and on longitudinal and clinical studies. And what he found out, to break it down into language that is, I think, for everyone to understand, is basically, sure, you did have improved BMI when you take Ozempic, but you will lose the equal amount of lean muscle mass as you do. So for every pound of fat that you will lose 1 pound equivalent of lean muscle mass. And guess what that does to your metabolism in the long run? And another horrible, horrible thing that what they say is improving insulin sensitivity is that it increases insulin secretion from the pancreas. And what that means, you're like, Tahlia, didn't you say that pancreas is part of the endocrine system that follows a very predictable pattern of burnout? You bet. You bet. Because when you overtax the pancreas, eventually it's going to throw in the towel. So it's actually pushing people further into pre-diabetic territory. It is actually taxing and burning out your pancreas, is damaging. So one of the important side effects, and I quote Dr. Lusberg, is pancreatitis and pancreatic cancer. Okay? So that's like just important to mention that you are improving BMI and insulin sensitivity, but congratulations, you have increased risk of pancreatic cancer and pancreatitis. And what that actually is creating is a chemical starvation in the body. Okay, so people, that's why people are losing lean muscle mass. The body's eating its own muscle for the precious amino acids. Anyways, that is that. We're going to unpack, as you can see, we are going to have an entire, this is a snippet from the course itself. We're going to learn about all those first line, second line, third line pharmaceuticals for managing diabetes and for weight loss and longevity, including metformin. We're going to talk about what they're sold us and what they really do to the body, like how we're talking about Ozempic. And true metabolic health comes from body composition, having lean muscle mass and less visceral fat. It comes from my version of insulin sensitivity, means your body is not overproducing, pancreas is not overproducing insulin. You're having a modulated insulin response and balanced blood sugar and low oxidative stress level. Anyways, So to wrap everything up, the class, I'm excited to see you. I really hope to have you. The class is going to be every Tuesday from October 7th to the November 25th. And leading up to the course, I will be sharing snippets like these nuggets of insights about the course. And you can ask me anything about the upcoming Con Ed course. I am excited to connect with you on Instagram. Here's my handle here. I can't wait to talk to you guys more about it. I hope today has been helpful. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you so much, Tahlia. No, that was fantastic. There's always so much to cover, and you did a beautiful job. And I know there's lots more to go through. And that was a snippet of the course, which was beautiful. Now, as you were presenting, we have lots of positive feedback for you. Thank you so much, Tahlia. It was very informative. They loved it. It was awesome.
Thank you guys so much. I see Jen there. I see
Yeah.
I see so many Jen, and I have Sasta. I have thank you so much. Tanya, yes, Tanya. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, Vera was asking, what was it that the patient was given to help with sleep?
So it was a few so we worked on many things. What we did was reishi and chaga. So there's a custom herbal recommendation that's made to the clients. When you take, okay, reishi does this one thing. Reishi likes to get to know you. Reishi will get into your nervous system and actually get to know, okay, you need to sleep. Your nervous system needs down regulation. So when you look at the studies, 6 to 9 weeks, that's why it takes, like the increments were gradual. It takes 2 months to regulate her sleep. So I definitely reishi was one of the biggest regulators because it helped to regulate the circadian rhythm. Chaga is more for that grounded energy, for her to not run on high anxiety and having that bleed over into the evening. So we did those. And I believe we also, yeah, I would not believe that. I'm very sure that we did theanine and B complex, stress orientated B complex to help modulate cortisol levels.
Okay, amazing. Actually, you can stop sharing now, Talia.
Okay, thank you.
And then what are your thoughts on berry bearing? What's the best form?
What's my, oh, Burberry? Yes. Okay, so there's a whole family of berberis herbs, and if you use the wrong one, you're actually gonna ruin, like, cause leaky gut, basically cause long-term gut damage in clients. Berberis aristata, can I put right there?
Yeah, you can type it right in.
Berberis aristata is one of the least gut disrupting ones, and the Berberis coptis sinensis is the most damaging to the gut flora. So Coptis sinensis contains berberine, and actually it's one of the highest berberis content and is like really good for dysbiosis, SIBO, IBD dysbiosis, but you have to pulse dose that. If you use like a high amount of it, it's going to actually damage your endothelial lining. But Berberis aristata is the least and most gentle, and that's actually the only species of the berberine family that's been compared with a pharmaceutical. It was
Okay,
compared to
thank you for
metformin.
that. And what about magnesium supplements? You talked about ashwagandha and some others. They wanted some more information on that. Shaista was asking.
Awesome. Do you know the body actually, that's a good one to mention. The body will actually burn through more magnesium if the body is stressed. Because cortisol creates a lot of oxidative stress in the body. It simultaneously cortisol increases urine output. So it flush out, literally, if you have high cortisol, you flush out a lot of the minerals in the body. Magnesium is one of them. And yes, it's very important to have.
Yeah. Okay, fantastic. And Karina was asking, she had someone reach out to her for help. At first, it was for losing weight and increasing energy, and now it stemmed into not sleeping, stomach pains, and she was also experiencing some issues with most of the foods she was eating. So she's wondering, should she address the adrenals first or healing of the gut as a priority?
Okay. This is from Karina, right?
Karina, yeah.
Karina. I'm going to write down what is a little bit complex. Is it in the chat by any chance?
This one's in the Q&A.
Is in the Q. Okay, I have a friend that reached out for some help to lose weight. Okay, I got it. Yeah. So initially, like I mentioned first, definitely when people have a weight concern and an energy concern, you want to help them unpack that a little bit because everyone have their own combination of factors. But you later found out that they're having trouble with digestion, they're not sleeping. So this can be a multitude of things, and sometimes that includes a multi-pillared approach, which we're going to talk about. If to give you a preview on my perspective, how to approach this case is I would like my assumption, I'm giving you my assumption is sleep is so restorative and so core to somebody's health. I'm not sure by not sleeping is like they're not staying asleep or they have trouble falling asleep. In any case, if somebody is not sleeping, all of what we're talking about is going to be an issue. But I don't want to just say, hey, definitely work on sleep. I think there is other areas that can be supported. What else is this client going through? What else is bothering them? Is the stomach, like basically ask them, is the stomach pain bothering them throughout the day that it's leading them not being able to focus, not to be able to function, then that is something to request further investigation. Long story short, sleep is foundational. And number two is there might be more information that you need to get from the client in terms of maybe requiring a clear diagnosis, because if somebody is having an ulcer, like the stomach pain, then we need to address that in conjunction with the sleep, if that is making sense.
Okay, perfect.
So they're both can be priorities.
Yeah. And if there's any other questions, you can type them in the chat, or if you want to type them in the Q&A section, that would be amazing.
Oh, there's somebody. Can I answer this one?
Yeah.
It was recommend for the last. Okay. We pray first. Number one, pray to higher power. No, that I'm not asking you to do, but you're definitely going to do. May I share this slide again? You want to do a rebuild. So when people are in the toilet, you want to do nourish and rebuild. So this is where you can consider adaptogens that is high in antioxidant, and number two, that is high in nutritive value. And then tiptoe into adrenal glandular, thyroid glandulars, okay? And in the States and Europe, there is adrenal peptide. So adrenal peptide is more extracted specific for the adrenal gland. You can use peptide therapy, but for everybody out there, you can tiptoe into the what you call it, the adrenal glandular. And I can show you because my adrenal is in the toilet. You know, have to call the plumber to fish it out one day because my adrenals are in the toilet. So this is one of the ones you can tiptoe. So
Yeah.
building lots of high quality vitamins, minerals, good food, antioxidants, and this is designed by Health Adrenal Complex. It's a good blend of vitamins and minerals in a glandular. I hope that's helpful.
Amazing. Yeah, thank you, Tahlia. And we have a question. Laura Lee, can perimenopause throw off the HPA axis when it wasn't an issue prior?
I can definitely say that I want to confirm one thing for you is perimenopause and menopause can definitely throw you really off. In addition, is undiagnosed and under-investigated adrenal issue because so many of us, like, did I mention? No, I did not mention this profile is like who's at risk for endocrine metabolic burnout is basically I mentioned people who's like late 30s and early 40s, but basically anybody who's been through trauma, anyone's been through even carrying complex trauma. So it doesn't have to be this one huge bad trauma with a big T happen to you. It can be maladaptive patterns, unresolved emotional pain. So all of that, if you've been through that, if clients confide in you that they've been through, or you have suspicion that they've been through that, then those can be undiagnosed. In Europe, actually, they just published a study, longitudinal one. When you carry complex trauma, there's like 10 adverse complex trauma, including even emotional neglect. So when people have even one or two out of the 10, including just, I'm not saying just, but like emotional neglect, then they have a very dramatic increased risk for metabolic endocrine problem. You're like, if you have 8 out of those 10 traumas, your lifespan will reduce by 2 decades.
Very nice. Okay. Thank you, Jen. Thank you for
Thank you
coming.
so much for coming, Jen. It's been a while.
And then last was Elizabeth was asking, there's a couple of slides that were skipped over after the feedback loop. Can you show those again?
Oh, definitely. Are you seeing it or no?
Just share your screen. Yeah, there we go. That's good.
The loop. I was going to, so here, do you see this pattern for the endocrine system like this? Stage 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This applies to every single gland in the endocrine system. And that includes adrenal. So this is an adrenal adaptation example. And this one is a pancreas adaptation example. Kind of lumped it in with the case study. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, that was perfect. Okay, I think, thank you. A few people were asking about the link to your Con Ed course, so that's been put into the chat.
Thank you.
Tahlia, it was very nice. A lot of people love the information. Fantastic time with you, Tahlia, they said. And lots of incredible pearls of wisdom there. So thank you so much for that, Tahlia.
You are really like giving my brain a nice workout, very engaged, I received the love from you guys. Thank you. Even if you're listening to the recording, I thank you for your support. I know some people might be listening to the recording. So email me questions and DM me on Instagram, because I will address any question you may have leading to the Con Ed course. So every Friday, I'll accumulate all of your questions, and then I will connect with you on Instagram regarding Con Ed. If you are not sure what you can gain from this course, you have some personal questions like these ones, I'm happy to answer that for you.
Yeah, wonderful. And the course is running October 7th through to November 25. And it's 6 to 9:30 Eastern time in the evening and 3 to 6:30 p.m. Pacific time. There's a wonderful course description and a breakdown of the objectives and what is covered in each session. And we will review all of that if you would be interested in having a complimentary Q&A session for Tahlia's Con Ed course. Absolutely, we can do that. It's been a beautiful evening. Thank you for your fantastic questions and all the information, Tahlia. And we got some beautiful clapping hands here. And
It was really fun to have you guys. I can already sense that you are going somewhere in your practice, and I hope that with today's time together, it will give you a clear roadmap and perspective on going further with your practice and with your own health too.
Absolutely. Okay, thank you so much. Thank you, Tahlia. Thank you, beautiful souls, for joining us tonight, and have a beautiful evening. Hi, Stella. Good night, Stella.
Have a good night.